Hi, I'm Rob. It's garage time. Hey everybody, it's your old friend Rob. Welcome to the garage. Okay, transmission mods part 2. What I've got laid out here is a whole bunch of treasure that's gonna go into that good old Turbo 350. First of all, you saw me toss the old dipstick and fill tube over my shoulder, and what we've got here is a brand new Mr. Gasket in a lovely chromium. And what we've got here is a really cool chrome oil pan with a drain bolt, which will make life so much easier the next time I do a transmission service. And then here we have a chrome torque converter slash flex plate slash flywheel dust cover, which will look super awesome. Then here we have a transmission filter and a really neat rubber gasket that is reusable. We have a cork gasket with the shift kit, but I'm going to use the rubber one because it's reusable. Right here, these are the parts that will adapt the Turbo 350 speedometer gearing to what's needed for the Jaguar rear end. So this is cool. And here is the first thing we're going to mess with, and this is the B&M transmission modification kit. That's all the treasure we got to install. So let's move into the garage and start messing with this business. Okay, where were we? Let's get this pan off right now. There we go. What do we have here? What's it look like? Not terrible. Oh no, it's not shiny. It's a bit crusty, but not especially shiny. Okay, good. Good. And it does not look like I'm going to have to do much in the way of gasket scraping on this thing, which is good, because every time you scrape a gasket, you run the risk of knocking debris into the thing you're trying to keep the debris out of. We don't like that. So pull the filter. There we go. The filter. Not terrible. Okay. Let us... This right here, my friends, is the kickdown cable end. This is where the kickdown cable attaches to the inside of the transmission. I'm going to pull out the cork, and we will let some of that stuff drip out into the basin that I have underneath, just in case. You know, I could conceivably flip this thing a little bit and drain the rest of that out. Okay, I did what I was going to do, and I tilted the transmission over so I could dump out more of the transmission fluid, and I did get a bunch. So what I got to do now is start undoing all of these bolts. Undo the valve body bolts, and I'm going to start with this thing right here, which is the shifter detent spring. There we go. You go there. Performance and off-road installation instructions. Okay. So, disassembly. Step 2, use to remove 2 screws to remove the oil filter. Detent spring and roller, which we've already removed with one of the valve body bolts. Oops, following this. The pivot clip holding the detent control valve lever in place. There we go. Cool. Remove 18 valve body attaching bolts. Let's do it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And the other one that I undid here, which was for the shifter detent, that would have been 18. Okay, so let's pull the kickdown cable because that's the thing that we can do. There we go. Au revoir, kickdown cable. Oh, geez. Ick. Looks bad. Remove the support plate bolts. There it is. There's the support plate. Here is the valve body. Okay. There's the valve body. Okay. Here's the gasket. There's the stock gasket, which we do not need anymore. Here is the stock valve body plate. Okay. Okay, we have 3 check balls. One there, one there, one there. And that's about it. Cool. Remember when I said where are the check balls? Yeah, I'm glad I did this upside down because the check balls, ordinarily, if you take this thing out from in the car, the check balls stay in the valve body. And they will, in fact, fall out if you are not super careful. See if we can get this gasket off of here without leaving too much of it on there and having to do any heroic scraping. Well, there's part of it. All right, so I've left a bit on here. I'm going to go get a scraper and clean this stuff off. I'm going to turn the cameras off for this because there's no need for you to watch me stress out about scraping this stuff off and not getting any inside the valve body. So we're at the point where we're going to put the transmission back together, but there are a couple of things I need to do as per the instructions. So let's head over to the bench and I'll show you what I got to do. This is the stock support plate that holds down the separator plate gasket outside of the valve body. The B&M kit comes with 2 other plates that go underneath this. And in the instructions, they tell you to take the bottommost, which they call the spacer support plate. They tell you to take the bottom of it, that would go against the gasket, and put it in a vise and rub it with a file to remove any high spots. I did not do that. This is a piece of, I don't know, maybe 16th inch steel, 16 gauge steel. And it's a stamping held in this place. They put the steel in and this press goes ka-chunk and stamps this out. And so what that does is it's got one edge that's nicely rounded and it feels nice and round to the touch. And then on the other side, you will feel a sharp edge. And for each of these holes, the same thing is true. There will be a smooth, rounded edge, and then on this side, there will be a sharp edge. And those, because it's a stamping, those sharp edges can protrude to the bottom of the stamp direction. And so what you want to do is get rid of those high spots. As it says in the instructions, if there's any high spots, it won't seal and you'll have leaks. Can't have that. But what they want you to do is take and clamp it in a vise and then rub the bottom of it with a fine-tooth flat file. And it's a thin, relatively thin piece of steel, and if you clamp it in the vise, first of all, you're going to have a hard time having it up high enough to get a file on it. And secondly, if you clamp it in a vise, it's going to bend. If you clamp it in tight enough that you can get a file on it and go do some rubbing around, it is going to bend. Ask me how I know. Not on this, because that would ruin it. But what you can do is you can get a nice flat piece of steel or anything that is relatively flat that you can set it on. I shouldn't say relatively flat, but it needs to be flat. And then get yourself a fine grit foam sanding block and just scuff it, just scrub it. Give it a good scrub. Scrub it all over. Scrub it all over. Scrub it all over. Scrub it all over. That'll take down these high edges, if there are any. Then you go around the edge. Go around the edge to smooth it off. I've already done that on this one. And then when you want, in order to deburr these holes, you take the corner of the block, you put it in the hole and just scrub it around like this. And that will deburr all of the holes. And then you wind up with a nice flat plate. And what you do to check that is you get a straight edge and you move it around the plate, putting it over the holes. And you wind up with a plate that has no high spots. So that's done. Then of course you want to wipe it off so that you don't have any metal dandruff getting into the transmission. Okay, we got that. Now let's go do the other thing. The next thing that the instructions say to do is to enlarge two of the holes from their original size to 3/16 of an inch. I've got the plate over there on the drill press, and I've already marked the two holes, and the kit does provide you with a 3/16 inch drill right here, but unfortunately for me, this drill bit was bent. Fortunately, I have a bunch of drills. So let's go over to the drill press and make a thing happen. Away we go. There we go. Okay, so let's take this over to the vise, deburr the holes, and then start putting the transmission back together. We are going to set this thing to what is known as the street and strip application. And so because of that, according to the instructions, we are going to remove 3 of the check balls. For street, use only one check ball in location 1, location 1, location 2, location 3, and location 4. So there's 1. We take out 2. Use 2 hands for this. 2, 3, and 4. So we have a check ball in location 1. We place a gasket. So that. And then the separator plate. Come on. And then the valve body gasket which has the Z-shaped slot. There we go. Then we take this middle support plate, which we deburred and burnished. Place that here. Then the oil transfer plate, which is gold colored and has a slot in it. There we go, there's that. Top of the oil transfer plate, we put the stock support plate. There's that. We put the support plate bolts in finger tight. There we go, finger tight, just like the book says. Way forward, okay. You're going to be in park position. Now comes the moment of truth. The valve body. Yeah. Flip you over. Where's my S-link? I need the S-link. Can only go in one way. This way. There we go. It only goes in one way. And as the Mandalorians say, notice that this is also somewhat painstaking. Come on. There we go. Okay. There's that. Don't wreck. All right, so below this, there is, I forget what the name of the part is, but it is spring-loaded. And as you can see, it pushes the valve body up. That was only a little stressful. Now let's put some bolts in here, shall we? And another. One of these bolts has an issue with the threads. I don't like that too much. What do you know? Yeah, one of these bolts has an issue with the threads. What, my friends, is that about? Why are you being a pain in the butt about things? Why are you... I gotta go collect some tools. Okay, I'm going to show you this bolt again. You can see that these threads at the end of the bolt, and in fact just about halfway up the bolt, are all rounded over, and that the very bottom of the threads has some, it's been rubbed silver, but what I want you to see is how squared off they are up to about here on the bolt. And so I've had to run a tap down through it. This is just a grade 8 5/16 18 bolt. So I've run this tap down through it down through this particular hole a couple of times. And just to clean those threads up. And this is the third time, so I shouldn't see any more bolt dandruff down in the hole. Come on. Yeah, good. The tap is clean. The way I tested it was I took one of these good bolts. I took one of the good bolts and I threaded it down in there and it got stuck. It got stuck about halfway down, but here, we'll take one of the good bolts and I will show you. Boom, in you go. Yep, it's good. I'm not going to try to put this one in because it will just wreck those threads. So I don't have a die to repair the threads on this bolt, so I'm just going to go get another one. See you later. I had to make a quick run to my favorite hardware emporium to get a good bolt for this hole. 3/16 18. No, 5/16 18 grade 8. Yeah. Screw that in. I happen to have it on good authority that all of these bolts get tightened to 100 inch-pounds. 100 inch-pounds. Okay, we're going to go from, yep, 1, 2, 17, 18. All right, so now the support plate bolts align the separated port transmission case bolt holes as well as possible. Tighten the 7 support plate bolts to 100 inch-pounds. Okay, here we go. In order to get a socket on this bolt, you have to set the shifter to at least 2nd gear so you can get the socket on. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 'Come on. Rough. That didn't just... Seriously? That can't be right. The bolt was only in there by 3 threads, and it stripped the threads out of the transmission case. So what I'm doing now is running my tap down in there to see if I can get good threads a little farther down so that I can put a longer bolt in, like for instance this one, and have that one get to the 100 inch-pounds. Imagine, if you will, I've been doing this underneath the car. There would be F-bombs flying. Oh yeah. What ham fist worked on this before? Wasn't me. Right, folks, here we go. Going in, boys. Please make me happy. Please make me happy. Make me happy. Make me happy. Oh, far out, man. Yes! Perfect. Okay, back into park you go. Okay, so let's move on to, excuse me. Let's bop on to the next step, which is the filter and then the funky new chromium oil pan. All right, gloves off. The gloves are coming off. All right, filtration unit. Here we go. There we go, there's that. And you. Okay. Okay, valve body is torqued. Support plate is torqued. We don't worry about that. The filter is on. And now, to finish this part of the project, here is our fabulous and ever wonderful reusable rubber gasket. And the most beautiful transmission pan in the world. Yeah. There we go. Okay, come on. More 5/16 18s. They're everywhere. It is a fortunate thing that I have an absolute screaming crap ton of 5/16 18 bolts. Instructions say for torque level, 13 foot-pounds. What? Wait, 13 foot-pounds? I don't think I have a foot-pound torque wrench that goes quite that low. We're going to go to inch-pounds. Okay. 13 times 12. 2 by 3 is 6. 2 by 1 is 2. 1 by 3 is 3. 1 by 1 is 1. So 156 inch-pounds. 155, 156. Yeah, let's not bash it down too hard, okay? There. That's everybody. All right, so we got the shift kit into the Turbo 350. That all went really well with one stripped bolt. And 3 threads, 3 holes. I had to clean up the threads, but it's all in, it's all together. And now we're going to move on to the next thing, part 3, which will be installing the new speedometer gears so that the Jaguar XJ6 speedometer will read correctly. So, as I am so fond of saying, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you around the channel.
1, 2, 3, 4. I was raised by gearheads, this apple fell not far from under daddy's tillage, messing around with cars.
I don't have the camera over here. I'll do that second. I'll do that second. Second things first.